I'm going to cover all of your questions that you may have about Albion Online. This video is intended for brand new players checking the game out for the first time. I'm going to cover everything there is about the game, how the systems work, how leveling works, how PvE works, how PvP works, and I'm going to compare it to other MMORPGs that you may or may not have played. I'm going to answer all of your most basic newbie questions. Let's begin. First up is servers, shards, and regions. In most MMORPGs, you have to select a server to play on. The server is usually named something after the insides of the game. This basically splits up the population because most MMORPGs can't support like more than 10,000 people on one server. New World was only like 2,000 people per server. I think World of Warcraft starts getting really bad after 10,000. The latest renditions of World of Warcraft had sharding, which means if you're in the same area as a lot of other people, it'll break it up into different segments or shards so that you're not all clustered into one zone. And then, of course, regions, like you have China, you have Russia, you have Korea, you have America, and so on and so forth. Albion Online does not have any of these things, and let me demonstrate real quick. We're going to go to a town called Bridgewatch. It's not the biggest town in the world or the game, but there are no servers in Albion Online. There are no shards, and there are no regions. Everybody plays on the same server from across the entire world. So you can see here at the bottom right corner, there is a player count number of 212 in this zone. This is just the town. Let me show you the town and some player-run shops. We have a bank and a marketplace that are separated. Those are their own little sections. So let's go to the marketplace now. And this is a separate player count from the top of the town, okay? So just in the marketplace area, there's 277 people here. And I'm playing kind of early at 7 a.m. UTC, which means it's not prime time for this game. And there's still hundreds of people just in the town, okay? So this game absolutely shares, like, you're not ever going to have a problem finding your friends. You're never going to be separated. You don't have to worry about choosing the wrong server. Like, it really sucks when you play an MMORPG and you choose a server and then the server dies, or the server is filled with Brazilians when you speak English, just because they all decided to choose that one, American server. So in this regard, you all play the same server, so you're always going to have people. Now, you'll notice the player count down here only says 3. This means 3 hostile players, okay? And this is just one map out of many, okay? So this is just one tile outside of town, and it would be better if I went into a blue zone to show you the player counts there, even though not a lot of people play in the blue zones, but you get the idea. You don't have to pick a server because everyone's on the same server, and it works out that way. It's really good, okay? Alright, I want to talk about mounts, because in most MMORPGs, mounts are just cosmetic. They just have a set amount of run speed, which in Albion Online, we can see here this Journeyman's Riding Horse allows me to carry a little bit of extra weight, and it has a movement speed bonus of plus 65 and a gallop move speed bonus of 100%. So essentially, you can just ride around on a horse, and after a few seconds, it'll start galloping, which means you run faster. If you're hit by an enemy player or monster, you will slow down. However, This is just the basic horse, okay? It helps you carry a little bit more weight, which means you can carry more stuff in your inventory. But there are other mounts in the game as well, okay? For instance, one of the most expensive mounts in the game is this mammoth. This is a transport mammoth. This mammoth, while it's kind of slow, it's also kind of big. It does have a lot of HP and armor and resistance, but it allows me to carry 28,101 kilograms, okay? Compared to the horse only allows me to carry, 56 kilograms. So you can see there's a huge difference of mounts, and this mount is a very, very expensive mount. The most expensive mount in the entire game, by the way. But there's other mounts for other purposes too, okay? Like, this is a pretty Gucci mount for about 17 million, and the cool thing about this mount is that it doesn't have a gallop. It just has a high base move speed and a high health. It also has this little lightning cloud thing that if I'm struck while it casts, it will do something to the enemies. I kind of forget. But mounts in this game all serve a different purpose, either for transporting, either for combat or movement, making you tankier, making you faster. One of the fastest mounts in the game is the Snow Husky here, okay? So they're not just cosmetic, okay? They serve a purpose. Like, I can do a little howl here, and that's going to increase my move speed, and then when it hits the gallop, that's even faster. This is by far the fastest way to travel. And again, mounts have a purpose. You're going to find mounts that you enjoy, and mounts will serve you in many, many different ways. I even have a faction PvP mount that lets me dismount and sprint at an enemy, which is super handy in faction combat, alright? Then there's also a mount like this Raven here. While it doesn't let me technically fly, I mean, it is a flying mount, but I can't, like, fly up a mountain or anything, so there's no flying mounts, okay? It's not like World of Warcraft Burning Crusade. This one lets me do an AoE fear, which I can fear players out of their mount range, despawning their mount. There's so many different uses for mounts, and mounts are extremely useful and varied in this game. Also, there are mount skins in this game as well, so if you like horses, you can get special horse skins to make them look like unicorns or on fire. There's all different ways to customize your mount. Now, before we go to PvE and PvP, I want to talk about items in this game. That's always a question everyone asks. How is the item system in this game? How do you get items? How do you increase the power of your items? So let me explain. You have several item slots over here. If we look at my character's inventory, you can see that it's empty right now, but we have a bag slot at the top left. So I'm going to talk about bags real quick, all right? So bags, just your standard bags, allow you to carry more stuff. This is a tier 8 bag. It's not the best. Tier 8.3 would be the best, but this allows me to carry 216 kilograms worth of extra stuff. Pretty cool, right? Whereas if we compare it to a crappier lower level bag, let me see if I can find one here. Surely I have one somewhere in my stashes. Here's just a regular tier 4 bag. This one only lets me carry 75 grams. So as you upgrade your bags, you will receive more carry weight. That's pretty simple. That's standard in most games. Some games let you carry more inventory slots. This lets you carry more weight. Now, as far as upgrading your gear goes, unlike World of Warcraft where you have to do like a 40-man raid and kill a big raid boss that takes hours and lots of planning, this game does not have that. Yes, it does have raids. You can raid with people and kill big bosses, but they do not drop unique or specialized loot. All the loot that you can equip in the game is crafted by other players. But it can be found on those raid bosses that I'm talking about, but it is not exclusive to those raid bosses. Whereas in World of Warcraft, if you want a Perdition's Blade, you have to kill Ragnaros, okay? Whereas in this game, if you want one of the best axes in the game, you don't have to go kill a special boss for it. You can just have someone craft it for you or buy it off the marketplace. Alright, because it is a full loot game, it would really suck to have to raid 40 hours a week to get an item that someone can just liberate from you, okay? So let's talk more about the item slots. You have the helmet slots, okay? So the helmet slots, it's not really a primary piece of equipment. Helmets give you, extra health and mana. They give you a little bit of physical damage reduction if you choose it, which I'm not currently doing on this helmet, but the thing is, each piece of your equipment gives you spells and abilities. So I have this Scholar's Cowl, and what it does, it has a little energy shield here that I can cast, and then when I get attacked, I'll heal mana and I'll receive less damage. Whereas there are other helmets in the game, like I can put on this Spectre's helmet, and it has an ability that resets the cooldown of my armor ability, which is your chest piece, essentially, right? I have one here that also restores cooldown rate by 80% while you channel. Here's one that casts a reflective shield upon you. So you can see that the helmet is kind of more so for defensives, though there are a few offensive helmets. I don't have one in my stash, but there's one that shoots a laser beam, there's one that casts poison on your weapon, and so on, right? Let's talk about weapons. There is a huge, massive variety of weapons in this game, and I'm going to talk more about... This is the Destiny board. Don't get scared. Don't get scared of this. It's very simple compared to other games. It's not like Path of Exile. Trust me on this. All right? There's many different weapon types in the game. You have, like, Shadow Staffs, Frost Staffs, Arcane Staffs. You got Priest Staffs, Fire Staffs. Okay, those are, like, the magical staffs. You got some offhand things. I'm going to talk about that later. You got Quarter Staffs, Daggers, Nature Staffs, Spears, Bows. Okay? Then coming down here, you have crossbows. You can see that I'm a complete master in the crossbow tree, all right? I'm going to talk more about that later. Don't worry, it's not scary. You got hammers, you have maces, axes, swords, and they're always adding more weapons. They added, I don't see it on here. They added war gloves. I know they exist. I just, did I skip over them? They're, yeah, here they are. I don't have any points in these. War gloves. Okay, that's the new fist weapon that got introduced earlier, I believe, this year or late last year. I forget exactly. But they're always adding new weapons to the game. All right, so that's weapons. And, of course, weapons, they have 3 abilities. You have, like kind of a basic ability and kind of sort of like an ultimate, too. It's not really like an ultimate, but it's like your identifying skill. Like this great axe lets me do a spin. It has like a 20-something second cooldown. This axe also lets me do a circular attack every few seconds, so this is something I could spam, but because I have no armor on, I have no mana, and this is a tier 8.3 weapon, so it takes a lot of mana. But there are so many different weapons with different abilities in this game, you'll probably never really get bored of the weapons. Let's talk about armors now. All right, armor, which is your body pieces, have different abilities. Like, this is one of my favorites here. We have the Spectre Jacket, and what this does is, I've got to wait on my cooldowns, is it just casts like kind of a fire aura all around me. This is really, really good against monsters. It does hurt me, though, but I can run into a pack of mobs and burn them to a crisp. There's other more defensive armors as well. There's armors that will heal you. There's armors that give you a shield or cooldown or casting speed reduction. Armors that buff your damage. All right, and there's 3 different types of armors. You got like cloth armor, leather armor, and plate armor. Okay, cloth armor gives you more damage. Leather armor is kind of damage and defense, and plate armor is hyper defensive. It makes you really tanky. All right, after that you have boots. Okay, same thing for boots and helmets. They have cloth, leather, and plate. Boots give you movement speed abilities. They give you, like, here's one of my favorite ones, the Royal Sandals. This makes me run faster and deal more damage. It's pretty simple, right? But there's other boots that let me go invisible and teleport next to someone. Or you have boots that turn you, doubling your size and doubling your maximum health for a small duration, and a little bit of run speed too. There's a lot of different boot abilities, okay? And then other than that, you have offhand items. Offhand items are used to mainly change your stats a bit. Like this torch gives me more cooldown reduction and attack speed, whereas this Mist Collar gives me more cooldown reduction and nothing else. It's all cooldown reduction, but then you have this Crypt Candle, which is increased damage at the expense of taking more damage. All right, and then I covered mounts just a bit earlier in this video. Finally, you have foods. There are so many different foods that you can eat. Foods that increase your damage, food that restores your health over time. It's not like World of Warcraft where you have to eat after every time you fight something. You eat the food once, it's good for 30 minutes. Once you're out of combat, the regeneration kicks in. Okay, I have food here that gives me lifesteal. I have food that gives me cooldown and cast speed reduction. Well, increases your cast speed and your cooldown reduction, okay? There's no non-beneficial foods. And finally, you have potions, which I have a healing potion, there's a mana potion, there's also offensive potions where you can throw at the enemy to lower their armor and poison them, essentially, right? So that's items, and that's how you get items, that's how items are crafted. How are items generated in the world, okay? When you go to a dungeon, when you go to like a raid boss, when you go to a high level area, like with a group and do a group dungeon, the items, these equipments that I'm showing you are all made by players, okay? If I look at this staff, it was made by someone named Amphibio, and this laser gun is made by Jormungandar. This ice permafrost was made by MSSJ Wood R1, okay? These are all real people, real players in the game. All right, this was made by Lancy Jack. Okay, every single item is made by somebody. All right, and the way it works is there is a special vendor in the game who, over time, will pay more and more for an item, and people are incentivized to vendor their item for silver, which is the game's primary currency that you can trade with other players and buy things. When the black market, which is the vendor I'm talking about, buys that item, it gets thrown into a loot pool. For treasure chests, mob drops, and so on. So when you go to a dungeon and it drops like a chest piece like this, which would be a really good drop, by the way, because this thing is worth 2 million, it was crafted by a player, and at some point it would have been sold to the black market, so it gets put into the mob's loot pool. That's how this works. That's how items are generated. Sometimes when you open chests, you won't get any loot because there's not a lot of loot, or you just got unlucky. It's kind of like sort of like Path of Exile, but it's driven by players. Oh, and I forgot about capes. Capes are it's a passive ability thing, okay? So this Thetford cape, it has a passive ability that lets me do a chain lightning on my auto attack every 15 seconds, which is pretty cool. Then we have a cape here that will turn you invisible for 6 seconds if your health drops below 15%. Here is one that activates when your health drops below 70%, that increases your damage by 50%. Here's one that drops a lava pool whenever you do a normal attack every minute that deals a ton of damage. There are so many different capes with so many different passives. So, again, you can mix and match your passives and your weapon abilities and your armor abilities to create whatever build it is that you want to play. Alright, I want to talk about the PvE in this game real quick, okay? So PvE consists of killing mobs in the open world. So when I open the map, if I go to, like, say this zone here, this flat river trough, whatever, and I just run around the map here, there's going to be random monsters, animals, creatures, and humanoids just around that I can kill and that will fight me. I can kill them for loot, experience, silver, and so on, right? But also there are randomly generated dungeons. These are procedurally generated random dungeons that are just scattered randomly around the map. And you can enter them. They're considered solo dungeons. All right, you can enter these solo dungeons, and you go through what's like a cave or maybe like a spooky crypt, and you kill monsters. And at the end, there's some treasure chests and some bosses, and you can kill those for loot and experience. Then you have group dungeons, which are the same thing, but the monsters inside have far more health and they deal lots more damage. You can technically solo the group dungeons if you're very, very powerful. It will take a little bit of time. And the treasure is better and the experience is better. But hey, you know, as a newbie or as someone without maximum gear and high levels, it's going to be kind of hard to solo those things, all right? But besides that, you also have world bosses. Like if we go to Astolat here, which is actually a red zone, you can see that there's this big monster here, and he will reappear in 1 hour and 20 minutes. And so what happens is everyone goes into this big castle right here in the middle, and they fight Astolat. And because it's a dangerous zone, people can kill each other and drop their loot. And, you know, they might fight over the world boss, and the world boss will drop a bunch of treasure and give a lot of experience, okay? And these are scattered kind of all over the world. Like here we have, ooh, we got hurt. I mean, look at this, guys. I mean, come on, YouTube, don't be mad. Here we can fight the Bone Crusher Earth Mother in 1 hour, 20 minutes. And you get the idea. But if you go up here to the really dangerous zones that are meant for like guilds and group players, you can see that we can fight this guy here. Oh boy, Prince of Morgana, he respawns. Again, they all respawn in 1 hour and 20 minutes, okay? So if we were to go into this zone, again, it's kind of the same map. It sort of is. But hey, it's basically the same boss, just much, much more difficult with much better rewards. You can also go into portals, which I can't, there's no map for it because it's randomly generated, but it's kind of lore-wise, it's in this area. This is called the something of Avalon, I forget right now. But you go in here, and there's tons of heavy-duty, strong, terrible monsters. There's a monster here to kill, the Elite Condemned Harvester. Again, this is a dangerous in-game zone. There's raids for you, but even if that's not enough, there's also instanced content for people who want to do that, who don't want to risk gear, who don't want to play the full loot game. That's totally fine. All right, so let me explain over here. If you go to town, there's like these portals, and these are just little dungeons that you can do. When you're a newbie, you can do these little individual expeditions. These are by yourself. They give very nice rewards. As a brand new player, you want to do this every day because this gives you 44,000 silver, which is actually quite a lot. Then you have the group ones. The rewards aren't nearly as good. This one's only worth 21,000 at the highest level. But then you have what's called hardcore expeditions. And these, for those of you that are like the hardcore raiders of World of Warcraft, this is what you might be into, okay? So you have what is essentially a Path of Exile map of sorts that you would put into here, and the level goes up insane. Out of everything in the open world, like this guy here, this Elite Condemned Harvester, yeah, he's got a lot of HP and does a lot of damage, but it's minute compared to what you will do in a hardcore expedition. A hardcore expedition is the in-game of in-game hardest enemies with the highest HP pulls that will absolutely kill you if your tank loses aggro. It is like doing Naxxramas in World of Warcraft vanilla. You know how hard that was, right? Very, very difficult stuff that needs a lot of coordination, okay? Though these are just little 5-mans. They're not like 40-man raids or anything, okay? That's for the open world stuff. But my gripe, I have to tell you right now, is that these hardcore expeditions, they're gatekept by a very toxic Discord. When I say toxic, I mean anti-freedom of speech, okay? That's my definition. These Discords that control the hardcore expeditions, they don't allow a lot of people. They are very... Oh no, I'm being noticed in chat. Gotta run. Yeah, I'm pretty big on this game. I'm pretty well known because I have over 200 videos on my channel where I explain guides. So I have to run. Gotta run away from the fans. I'm sorry, man. Hey, but hey, you made it in the video, dude. Okay, yeah, that's a lot of random island names. I'll get to islands later. Don't worry. I'm gonna explain everything. Okay, so hardcore expeditions are gatekept. They're gatekept by what is essentially communist-run Discords, and it takes about 6 hours to even organize one, and half the time the people there aren't very good, so you really need a close-knit tie of friends. a nice friendship circle to be part of to do that kind of content. So if that's the only thing you like in MMORPGs is in-game raiding, I'm not going to recommend this game for you because it is a huge letdown unless you know a lot of people. And even me, I'm a very famous person with extremely high-level items. It takes me over 6 hours, and I have to go in there on an account that isn't SwoleBenji. I have to go in there as not me because they ban all famous people. They even ban the employees and the developers of this game from their Discord. They're that controlling. I'm not even kidding. It is absolutely the worst thing, and I hope someday that they all quit and someone starts a new one that's more open and less gatekept so that more people can get into it. But as of right now, if unless you have a big group of friends that are dedicated to playing this and learning it, you're not going to be doing hardcore expeditions. So solo random dungeons look like this. They have the little green portal in them. You left click on them to enter them, and this is right outside the town gate, so chances are there's someone clearing in here. I'm going to invade their dungeon. If you enter one of these and no one else enters in 60 seconds in a yellow zone, they close. In 90 seconds, they close. Okay, no one actually came in here. There's mobs that are alive. So as soon as I enter, everything's on cooldown. I can't cast spells for a few seconds. I can still auto-attack, okay? This game plays a lot like a MOBA. It kind of plays like V-Rising. It plays... It's pretty intuitive. It's pretty simple. If you've ever played Diablo or Path of Exile, it's kind of like that, okay? And this is just a little weak tier 5 zone. I'm using max skill, I'm using almost all maximum leveled gear. So this is actually very easy for me. I'm dealing way more damage than you probably will when you first start the game, okay? Also, these mobs don't really do much to me, so I can technically speedrun this if I want. You know, I can cast my armor that burns the heck out of them and just run through and nuke these. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and run through the dungeon so I can show you what a boss fight looks like and what treasure chests look like. So this is essentially a boss fight. Now, let me remind you, I am very over-leveled and over-geared for this content, so this boss will absolutely melt. There's like no difficulty at all. But essentially, I've killed most of the enemies along the way to this boss. I've killed the boss. The treasure chest here will unlock, and then we get our loot. In this case, I didn't get any actual real loot. These silver bags are generated by the game. They're not crafted by players. These runes, again, are generated by the game. These are used to upgrade materials. You need runes and the following items to be able to upgrade or enchant your weapons. And then this is just a thing that you sell to a vendor at a certain town so that you get more silver. So because I don't have premium running and I'm in a lower level zone, I didn't really get any treasure for this dungeon. But hey, it's still something, right? It's still like, what, 2,000 silver, which again, it's not a lot really, but that's PvE for you. And this is one way that you fame up. I'm going to talk about faming up, which is leveling up. Fame in this game is the game's way of calling it experience. I'm going to talk all about that as well. I'm going to get to all of that, but let's talk about PvP. By the way, if you're thinking about playing this game, make sure that you download the standalone client from albiononline.com. Do not download the one on Steam. Use the standalone client. Do not play this through Steam. There's a few reasons. Well, Steam makes it hard to play on the test realm if you want to test builds, items, and explore without being murdered in the game and losing all of your stuff. But also, if you want to switch accounts, because if you decide to go all in and play this game, you're going to need multiple accounts and multiple characters for crafting and making more money. Almost everyone makes multiple accounts in this game. That's just how it is. Alright? But if you do want to play, I have a referral link that is in my description or in the pinned comments, so please use that link when you make your character. It will give you some extra stuff. I am the most referred person in Albion Online. I have given out more referrals than anyone else, and so you get the biggest bonus if you use my referral link, okay, guys? And with that said, what do I get? Well, I get stuff like this. Whenever you do it, I get some extra gold, which is the game's premium currency, okay? So that gave me, what, 500 gold, and then I also get like a stack of tomes here. Pretty cool stuff that I can always pay you guys back with, because I don't really need these tomes anymore. I don't know why I still get them. And sometimes I get mount skins. Like I got this cute little stag deer skin. A little deer, a little doe. See, look at that. I can put that on a stag mount, and it'll turn it into this cute little deer. Which I don't ever actually use these. I just hold on to them because skins in this game become insanely valuable over time, and let me just really quickly touch on that. So here we have like a swift claw skin. This is a snow leopard skin. It's worth 20 million. That's like 2 premiums. Okay, I have a snow fox, 14 million. This thing used to be 8 million. These things increase in value over the years. So I never really sell these. Okay, we have a festive reindeer. This one didn't really go up much in value yet. You can obviously tell this is a Christmas mount. And then we have the Jester Horse. This is something I should ride around on. Barely 8 million right now, but hey, one day it might be worth more. You never know. But that's how it helps me out. I get these little skins, and you guys get some bonus stuff, okay? All right, now we're going to talk about PvP, how PvP works. Where do you PvP at? I heard this game was a full loot game where you can lose all of your stuff. Oh my god, that sounds horrible. Why would anyone ever want to play this? Okay, so PvP is a main focus in Albion Online. Obviously, you're not forced to PvP if you don't want to in most areas of the game. Let me explain. When you first start out of the game, let me just go all the way down here. You're going to be on this little baby tutorial island, okay? There's some colors and some Roman numeral numbers, okay? You see this little notch, this little up and down line? That's a Roman numeral 1. This means it's a tier 1 zone. This blue means it's a blue zone, okay? And I'm going to explain what these mean. Once you leave tutorial island, you'll be pooped out on one of these tier 2 zones, little mini towns. I recommend everyone go to Stepcross. This is the starting area. It's great economy. It's close to Bridgewatch. It's where I live. So if you want, you can go here. But you don't have to if you don't want to. This is a tier 2 zone. It's also a blue zone. Blue zone means safe region. Players can't attack you. What that means is that if you want to PvP at all in a blue zone, you can't do it. If you see other players in these little blue zones, and let me open the map again. Once you leave the little starter town, you go to a tier 3 zone, and then you can go to a tier 4 blue. These are blue zones. No one can attack you. You can't attack anybody else. All right, then you have Bridgewatch, one of the main towns for the desert region. There's 5 main towns. You got Bridgewatch, Martlock, Thetford, Fort Sterling, Limhurst, and then in the middle you have Caerleon, which is surrounded by red zones. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But first, let me educate you about the tiers, okay, the numbers. The number here, the tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4 blue zones, okay? The higher the tier, the more experience and the better loot you get, okay? When you kill mobs in a tier 4 zone, they can drop up to tier 6 gear, okay? Or maybe it's tier 5 gear, I forget exactly. It's been changed over the patches. It's been a while. I'm a little bit rusty. Okay, but no players can attack. You can't attack other players. Once you go to tier 5, it changes into yellow. Yellow zones, it just says yellow region, doesn't tell you why it's a yellow region. A yellow zone, which is my favorite zone, I'm very well known for the yellow zone, is PvP is allowed. However, the way it works is if you want to hurt someone in a yellow zone, you have to flag yourself as PvP enabled. And what this means is that everyone can attack you, and you can attack everyone. Your name will highlight red for everyone else. Okay? However, if you do not, flag yourself as PvP enabled, you cannot attack other players that aren't PvP enabled. But also, in the yellow zone, if someone kills you, or you kill someone, you cannot take their loot. You can't technically kill someone in a yellow zone. What happens is your character will kneel down, being damaged, and you will be put out of combat and untargetable for about 3 minutes. You're considered downed. All right, and what that means is that you can't interact with the world for 3 minutes if you're downed. You will lose 5% durability. So right now this armor has 99% durability. So if I get downed in the yellow zone, it will drop to 94%. Which on this kind of gear, because this is the best gear in the game, will cost a lot to repair. All right, so I kind of don't want to go get downed in the yellow zone. I have videos on my channel where I do yellow zone PvP. It's basically if you want to PvP without any kind of permanent gear loss, or you won't be able to loot anyone's gear in the process. All right, so that's what a yellow zone is. Now the red zone, which is tier 6 and tier 7, so this is tier 6, VI, that's 6 Roman numerals. And then we have a tier 7 zone here, Shift Shadow Expanse, tier 7. These are red zones. You can see the skull. This means full loot PvP, but it's different, okay? In these zones, the red zone, you have to flag yourself as PvP enabled, which means you can attack everyone and everyone can attack you, just like in the yellow zone. But if you are killed out here, you die and you drop all of your stuff. Or if you kill someone, you can take everything that they have equipped and everything in their inventory. You will not ever lose silver or gold. These will never be lost upon being downed or killed. You'll notice that if you do get downed or killed, you will drop a small silver pile. This does not come from your silver. This is silver that the game generates based on your repair bill. It's like a fraction of your repair bill that your killer receives as a bonus for killing you. All right. So you don't lose silver, gold, but you lose everything you're carrying. You don't lose stuff in your stashes, in your islands, in your banks, and so on and so forth. All of this is kept. Also, I didn't really talk about stashes, but in every town, these are not shared stashes. You go into the bank area, there's just a big fat chest. It looks just like this, and you can throw all your stuff in there. It's just like Diablo. It's just like Path of Exile. You throw your stuff in the chest, no one else can loot it. It's fine. It's safe. All right. And also, out in the world, there are different, little chest areas in case you don't want to go back to town. You see like how there's a chest icon here, this yellow zone here. You can go here. These do cost a one-time fee to use. Once you have it unlocked, you never have to pay again, but you can stash your items there as well. All right, and with that said, let's talk about the black zone, okay? The black zone is the same as the red zone in terms of that if you get killed, you drop all your stuff. However, the black zone is on a completely different continent. It's way up here. You have to teleport to it. These are black zones. You can see how it's black. It's got the skull. The skull denotes full loot PvP. And it also it goes from tier 5 to tier 8. A tier 8 zone would look like this, VIII. All right? So in a black zone, there is no turning your PvP flag on or off. Everyone, all the time, are always PvP flagged. All right, and what this means, for those that haven't played this type of game before, if you decide to flag up in a red zone, if you're in a red zone and you flag up, you're going to have like 20 dudes that aren't flagged up chasing you down and killing you. So it's like a 1v20. Whereas in the black zone, everyone's flagged up all the time. So everyone is a threat. Everyone you see, they won't have a white name. They all have red names. Everyone out here can and will kill you for your stuff. And most of the time in the black zones, it's guilds roaming around with 10 of their buddies. So it's like going into a bad part of the like New York or something, if you're American, or like whatever bad city that your area of life is known for. It's like going there by yourself wearing a mini skirt. It's not fun. It's not good. If you don't have friends or a guild, I would stay away from the black zones. But this video isn't about that kind of stuff, and it does upset other content creators and Albion, hardcore gamers that I tell people these kinds of things to stay out of the black zone because this is their main method of profit. They want newbies to come here so they can take all their stuff and make lots of silver. So that's PvP, but also you have other methods of PvP. You have what's called a hold on. let me show you. All right, these are called Hellgates. These are team-based PvP events. You and a friend, or sometimes you and several friends, can enter one of these Hellgates, and they're saying hi to me. I'm gonna run. Okay, what those are is you join it, which is like I think this one is a 2v2 because it's a yellow zone. It's not full loot. If you enter one of those in a red zone, it is full loot. But you essentially get teleported to what is essentially hell, and you fight a few mobs, but you also fight other players, and you kill a boss, and it drops a bunch of loot, and you and your buddy or buddies will get treasure for it. Okay. So that's one of the many different alternatives to PvP. There's also the arena, which it's been a while. Through one of these menus, I can access it. I believe arena, and I can do a solo queue or a group queue. I can queue as a fighter or a healer, and this is just a non-full loot arena that limits your power. All right, this limits your power to like 4.1, which what I mean by that is I'm in 8.3. So my item power is a 1,869. If I were to enter one of these arenas, it would limit my item power to like 500 to 600, I think. It limits my power. It's basically allows you to practice your builds, practice your PvP without losing any of your gear or any of your loot, and you get rewards for it. It's something that I tell newbies that they should do if they're confident in their gaming ability. It's a decent amount of fun. Most people just use it as practice. They don't really try to win. So if you are actually trying to win in arena, then hey, you're going to get those rewards. Whereas a lot of people use it as warm-ups before they play, and so on and so forth. But there's also corrupted dungeons, which I'm going to pause the footage here and find one so I can show you what it looks like. Well, I shouldn't have paused because it's only been a few seconds, but this is a corrupted dungeon. It has 3 difficulties. It has Hunter difficulty. All right, and let me tell you what a corrupted dungeon is. It's a dungeon that's kind of also in hell, but it's just you. You are completely solo, and you have to fight through mobs. There's traps around, and there's bosses, and there's treasure boxes. And then there's a big boss at the end. And then once you beat it, you can continue and do another one from the inside infinitely as long as you want. In Hunter difficulty, okay, now this is like a 1v1 PvP mode. This is kind of like Dark Souls. People can invade your dungeon and fight you and take your treasure and basically earn the treasure that you got from the boss. But you can invade other people and kill them and take their loot as well. So Hunter and Stalker limit your item power. You can see that my item power is 1638 average. This will limit my item power to 800. So I would be downscaled if I entered this Hunter difficulty dungeon. Also, do note that PvP results in knockdown. This means that I will not be killed and I will not lose my loot if I die in Hunter difficulty. Then you have Stalker difficulty, which limits your item power to 900, but PvP results in death. This is full loot PvP. You would be silly to bring anything above 900 into these dungeons. Then you have Slayer. It says 1,200, but the reality is that's the minimum required to enter. Okay? But it does not limit your item power. In Slayer, whatever you're wearing is how powerful you're going to be. And it's also PvP results in death. There is a hidden MMR system in this because it's a 1v1. It's basically rock, paper, scissors, okay? Like, if I'm a crossbow guy, I'm going to get countered by a lot of builds. But if I use a meta PvP build, I'm going to be able to counter a lot of other builds. And there's many different ways to play Corrupted Dungeons. Okay, there's a system in the place where you don't even have to fight the other person. If you truly don't want to, you can break 3 crystals and banish them from your game if they invade you. You can see here, this guy has a red bar, so he's PvP flagged, and he might shoot me. I can actually destroy this dude. He's got really nice armor, but his weapon sucks. So he's doing something. He's just messing around out here, but it looks like he's shooting people. Yeah, he's shooting this guy here who his gear is awful. He's got gathering gear on, and he's running. This game's PvP, you don't always have to fight to the death. You can run away like this guy did, and you can escape. Well, he's Jason. Oh, he's Jason him. Now, I'm a blue, which means I'm not flagged, but this guy is. So me and all these other dudes can jump off and save this dude. And he just went invisible, by the way, so that's why he disappeared. Yeah. So, again, that's PvP in a nutshell. And then finally, there's Crystal League, which is like a group full loot PvP thing. Is this guy following me? He said, "Oh my god," and now he's following me. It's really hard to film on this character because I'm so famous. Yeah, he's definitely followed me. Look, I'm going to take a hard right here. Watch him. There he goes. Okay, let's veer left. We're going to veer left now. And hey, congrats Nova if you made it in the video. But guys, this is how PvP works. He's just on a regular horse. I'm on a lizard. Maybe I can outrun him. Oh jeez. The perks of being a YouTuber, I suppose. Also, mine doesn't gallop, so I don't get slowed down when I'm attacked. Anyway, PvP. You got Crystal League, which is like 20v20 full loot. It's kind of like a really big battleground of sorts, where you have to capture objectives. There's also, in the Black Zone, like raid versus raid, guild versus guild, zerg versus zerg. You can siege castles. You can fight with hundreds of people. Like, the biggest PvP that this game is known for, the most famous of all PvP, is guild versus guild. You get like 200 people, and you just go murder each other in a big open field. It's a lot of craziness. It's really wild, okay? If that's what you're into, then great. I personally don't like large-scale PvP. I don't like feeling like a little ant in an army. I like feeling like, an overgeared character in the yellow zone. That's where I get my jollies from. And hey, this guy's down. You can see he's kneeling down. I can't hurt him. His health is slowly replenishing. So he got beat up by a bunch of other people, and these guys are just kind of camping him, waiting for him to get up. But this game does have safety measures where you can't really technically be body camped. This guy was also downed. He has really crappy gear, so he doesn't really stand much of a chance. But yeah, this guy's spinning. He's still following me. Anyway, that's really all I have to say about PvP. So why don't we talk about crafting and gathering now? Alright, so a lot of games would not be complete without gathering, alright? Almost every MMORPG imaginable has a system where you can go chop trees or mine iron and so on and so forth, okay? So the way gathering works in this game is you have your tool. So for instance, here is a tier 6 skinning knife. This lets me skin tier 6 and below monsters, and the higher the tier, the faster I can gather. This is an upgraded tier 6 skinning knife. This one gives me more gathering yield, which means if I skin an animal, I will get a little bit more hide than normal, but it's also very expensive. Alright, so because it's a full loot game, you have to risk versus reward. Do I want to skin with the normal knife that's 19k, or do I want to skin with the fancy one that's 570k? Okay, it's up to you. Here, of course, I have a tier 8.3 because I am a lumberjack in this game. I'm not the best at skinning or harvesting rocks or harvesting cloth or pickaxe stuff, but definitely lumberjack, okay? I've got the best axe in the game. but you also have gathering gear. And what that does is the same thing. It increases your gathering yield, but it gives you certain escape abilities that makes it really hard for other people to come kill you and take all of your hard-earned gathering stuff, okay? So by wearing the full gathering sets, you will increase your gathering yield. By having the best tool, you increase your gathering yield. And the higher the tool, the faster that you chop trees. So when you first start out, chopping trees are going to be kind of slow. I didn't mean to equip that, yeah, you don't have to have it equipped, just in your inventory. And then let me get that back out. So I can actually show you what chopping a tree looks like. For harvesting resources, you just go to the resource, which there should be some on my island besides little rocks. But yeah, like this little tree. This is just rough logs. I don't think there's any full trees on my. Or maybe that's a full tree. Let's see. Is it a 50 out of 50? Nope. Okay, maybe this big boy. Nope. Maybe this one? Yeah. Okay, so you just find the resource and you left click on it and you will gather it. There's no mini game, there's no special thing you have to do. Your character will just complete it for you. Same goes for skinning and almost everything else except fishing. Fishing has a little mini game to it where you have to like cast your thing out into a pool of fish or just open water. You don't have to always find those little circles of fish that we saw just now. And then you have a little bar that moves left and right. I'm not going to do a fishing tutorial. I don't even think I have a fishing... I do have a fishing pole. I guess I'll show you what fishing looks like, okay? But essentially, all of these gathering skills are how you craft armor. Like, for instance, to craft this crossbow, it requires tier 8.3 whitewood planks and tier 8.3 adamantium steel bars. So I would have to be a lumberjack and a miner to be able to craft this. But you also have to be a crafter to craft it, and I'm going to talk about that in a bit. But here we are. I can cast my rod out so it lands in the circle, and then whenever there's a splash, I play the fishing minigame. So, well, I messed it up because my left click failed, but essentially, I moused over, and that's why I messed up. But we'll do it again. Alright, so I'm holding left click, and if that little bobber touches the left or right side, it breaks the line. And that little fishy in the middle, you see how it moves to the right? Once it moves all the way to the right, I've caught the fish. So I just want to keep it kind of in the middle, but also the fish will only move if I hold left click. So that got me a little fish, which I can, either cut up for fish meat, or I can eat it for health regeneration. I'm just going to throw the fish out because I don't really care. But that's fishing, basically. Gathering, again, there's 8 different tiers of materials, like rough logs would be tier 1. Then you have birch, and then you have also I forget the names, but you have many different tiers of wood, and then that is going to lead us into crafting. All right, so crafting, again, every piece of equipment in the game you can craft from materials. So on this character, when I was new, I dabbled in bow crafting because I wanted to be, I want to craft bows because I chop trees all day, right? So first off, to craft bows, you have to craft these little crappy tier 3 bows, which is, well, they just require wood. That's why I picked it, because I don't have to like gather 2 different materials. I can just gather these chestnut planks, chestnut trees, and then you turn them into planks through refining, and then you can craft them, okay? So, and then here's the bow crafting. Once you unlock certain levels, you have the tier 4 bows, and then as you unlock, like, this is level 100, so I can craft the tier 8 bows. But when you start out, you can only craft tier 3, and then eventually tier 4, tier 5, and so on and so forth. But also, you get a specialization, okay? Because there's many different bows to craft. You can craft a regular bow, a mist piercer, a wailing bow, a bow baton, war bows, long bows, etc. And they all have different skills and abilities. All right, so you can see here I have 53 specialty in bow crafting, but I have 83 specialty in war bow crafting. And what this does is the more specialized you are in a certain thing, the easier it is to craft with focus, which gives you back materials. So if I were to craft war bows, they have a higher chance to be higher quality. They also have a higher chance of returning more resources for less focus cost. And focus is something you get when you have premium on your account. It's a stat right here. I don't have any because I'm not premium. But it basically doubles, a little bit more than doubles, your return rate of resources. So to craft, you either have to make an island and make a crafting like little section, or you can go to the main city and go to a crafting bench that another player has set up. Like, for instance, this player has set up a hunter's lodge, which you can use to craft bows. Now, this person does need to make a profit, so they do charge people to use their bench, okay, depending on what they are crafting. All right, so usage fee per 100 nutrition is 2.3 thousand silver. And what nutrition is there's a like a little servant like an NPC that mans this station, and they have to eat. And whenever you make them craft things, they get hungry. And the person that owns this has to feed them. So they have to charge a certain amount per 100 nutrition drain in order to make a profit on this shop, because these shops are not cheap to own, okay? You can also see that these are for sale for almost 1 billion silver each, which people do buy because they can afford it. I can actually afford a few of these if I wanted on my other characters, but I don't want to manage a shop. I'm not that kind of guy. If you want to manage a shop, that's great. Now, as far as crafting goes, like I said earlier, if you specialize in war bows, you'll be better at crafting war bows. But by leveling up your specialty in war bows, you're also very slightly better at crafting all the other bows. So what this means is that if you max out your specialty on all of the bows, you will have the highest percentage of being able to craft higher like quality of grades of gear. So here's quality, right? This crossbow is a good quality, okay? Let's see if I have other qualities here. This staff is just a normal quality. This one is outstanding quality, okay? Now this animal is a masterpiece quality. Now, you don't really craft animals, you raise them and breed them on islands. That's a whole different ball game. But the more the higher quality, the stronger it is, okay? So you definitely want to level up crafting if that's what you're into. I mean, I was kind of into it, and then I realized it's a huge money sink and a huge time sink. This is not easy to master. Like, even if I had infinite money, if I put in a cheat code and had infinite money and I bought out all the materials currently in every market in the game, I still would not max out Mist Piercer crafting. It would take months of buying out the market to max this out. That's how much crafting, that's how long it takes to max these kinds of things out. It is not cheap. Like, okay, regular bows, yeah. Regular bows just take regular wood to craft, okay? Let me show you. A regular bow just takes regular wood. I can just craft a gazillion bows because there's a gazillion woods. However, that Mist Piercer, look what it needs. It needs an immaculately crafted riser, which is a random drop from dungeons and bosses and raids, okay? It's completely random. I can go run dungeons all day and eventually maybe I'll get one. Probably not, though. Chances are I probably won't ever get one for weeks of grinding dungeons. Alright, but because the game is massive and all shares one server, we can check the price right now. These things are almost 1 million each, and I would have to craft hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these to be able to max out my mastery of Mist Piercer. So, it's definitely a grind, and if you're into it, if you want to be the best crafter in the game, hey, it's something to chase, but don't expect it to be like New World, where you can just max out everything in a few months. Albion is a much larger grind than any other MMO I've ever played in terms of crafting. Now I want to talk about the leveling system in Albion, which is called the Destiny board. You'll notice that I don't have a character level, I don't have an experience bar anywhere on my screen. There is no character levels. You don't start at level 1 and level up to 99 like other RPGs. The level of your character is the equipment you're using and how adept you are at using it. Alright, so let me explain. Because I have no character level, the stuff that I equip technically is my character level. Alright, you can see here the item power of this chest piece is 1869. Alright, that's the power of my chest. This weapon, 1804. Alright, so what that means is that by using these items, I'm leveling each of these individual items up. Not the cape, not the bag, not the potion or the food or the mount. Those you don't level. But the boots, helmet, armor piece, weapon, and offhand are all things that level up individually. So here's the Destiny board. And like, for instance, if I use bows, I have the ability to equip a tier 3 bow, and as I use bows, it unlocks all of these other weapons: bows, spears, nature staffs, daggers, quarterstaffs, and offhands that start with torch. Okay? So just by using the starter tier 3 bow, that unlocks all of this. And so let's say I want to be a dagger user, like in World of Warcraft, you know, because I like dagger rogues. As I level up, I can only use the tier 4 version of dagger, demon fang, the Bridled Fury, Dagger Pair, Claws, Bloodletter, etc., right? But as I level up just the ability to use and wield daggers by using any of these daggers, this will eventually hit 100, allowing me to wear the tier 8 variants. But depending on what dagger I actually equip and use, it will level up the mastery. So, Dagger Combat Specialist. This is the same as crafting that I went over earlier. By using just a regular dagger, I level up my specialty for daggers. And once this hits 100, or 120 in this case, because the game lets you go over 100 now, that's new, you will essentially power up all your other daggers by just a smidgen, just a little bit, alright? So if you want to be the best dagger user in the game and deal the most damage possible, you have to level all of these up to 120, though from 100 to 120 is a massive, massive grind that I don't recommend anyone currently do, because the power you get from it is so small, okay? But if you want to max out, if you just want to deal more damage with regular dagger, you got to equip the dagger and go kill stuff, or use experience or fame tomes rather, and just eat a bunch of those. Alright, but also the game has a mechanic called Combat Fame, and when you are maxed out at level 100, not 120, just 100 on one of these, all the things that you kill give Combat Fame credits, okay, by double, well, sort of, okay? So let's say I kill a mob worth 1,000 Fame. 1,000 Fame will be added to my Combat Dagger specialty, right? And you can see I'm 115,000 out of 134. This is my level up bar, essentially. I'm level 29 in daggers, essentially, right? But when I'm 100, if I get 1,000 Fame, it becomes 1,000 Combat Fame credits. And if I wanted to level up a different way, I can spend Combat Fame credits. I have 34 million Combat Fame credits. So what that means is if I wanted to level 100 dagger, it's going to cost me 15.6 million Combat Fame credits. I can click confirm and I'm level 100 in daggers without ever having to use them. You can't do this for gathering or crafting. Well, I think they're changing it for gathering soon. But for combat, okay, for combat, right now, if I wanted to, I can level up. Like, let me show you how I've done it, okay? I have crossbows maxed out. Every single crossbow. I have got the crossbow, the heavy crossbow, the light crossbow, the weeping repeater, bolt casters, siege bow, energy shaper, siege crossbow, my bad. They're all maxed out at 100. Okay? So is all the armor I'm currently wearing. This armor that I'm wearing is I believe it's maxed out. Yeah, it's maxed out. The helmet, I believe, is maxed out too. Let's see. Yep, it's maxed out, and the boots, are the boots maxed out? They better be. They better be maxed out. They are maxed out. So this means that I get 1,000 fame credits, 1,000, 1,000, and 1,000 on all four of these. And they scale kind of differently, okay? So it's not really 1,000. It's a little bit less or more, but because I'm wearing a full set of fully leveled up stuff, anything I kill goes straight into those fame credits, so I can spend it on anything else. So, let's say I wanted to be, like, maxed on assassin shoes. Well, guess what? It only cost me 16... Oh, no, not 120. Just 100. Just 100. That's going to cost me 3.89 million combat fame credits. But, also, you can unspec. Let's say the developers nerfed crossbows. And I'm like, I don't want to play crossbows anymore. Now, I can only get 3/4 of my fame back, but if I brought this down to level 1, I have to pay a silver fee of 12 million. But in return, I would receive 13.5 million fame credits, which I can put elsewhere. I can put it anywhere I want. So, one thing that I actually did in the past was I was leveling hammers, and I decided I didn't want to level hammers anymore, so I brought them back down. Though I did keep Great Hammer because I wanted to make a fun video about that. But and I ended up leveling it back up anyway, but whatever, you get the point. You can play around with your fame credits and your levels to, like, use the weapons that you want to use, and so you're not stuck shafted with a weapon that might have gotten heavy nerfed, okay? Like, for instance, the Druidic Staff here, I might undo this. I might not ever play Nature Staffs again due to nerfs. Okay, and I can get that back and put it elsewhere on maybe a new weapon if I want to. That's basically leveling in Albion. Now, also, you may be thinking, well, how do you get more health? How do you get more defense? It's the same thing with armor, okay? When you wear the armor, you gain combat fame credits and specialties. So on this armor and this armor, they're all maxed out. So they give me, essentially, more item power. But also, let me talk about item power in general, okay? So I'm using an 8.3. This is as strong as the crossbow it gets, and I'm also level 100 in all crossbows, which is as strong as it used to get before the patch changed it, okay? But if I use a crappy 4.1 crossbow, if I use, I think I have one. Well, here's a 4.3. I can put this 4.3 on, and it's like I'm wearing 4.6, which would be... Let me explain the points, okay? The points are these three little balls underneath the item. You see, this is a 4.1 Nature Staff, okay? So that means it's Tier 4 plus 1. This is Tier 4 plus 3. This is Tier 8 plus 3. So it's a level 11, essentially. Having maximum spec, like I do in crossbows, essentially makes my 4.1 into a tier 8. So it gives me 3 more little dots, essentially, by being maximum spec. It doesn't actually make the item 3 extra dots. It makes my power when wielding it 3 extra dots. So it adds 300 item power. So if I'm using this crossbow with no specialty in crossbows, it would be about 1,504, but probably a little bit less than that. The math is a little shaky on it, okay? If I used a tier 8, but with no enchantment, it would be 1,504. You get what I'm saying? Every enchantment or every tier increase is about 100 item power. So tier 8, that's like 800, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 from specialty, and then the base is another 200, and then you get 100 from just your crossbow, like your crossbow fighter, okay? It even says here, when you highlight it, this gives you a 0.2% bonus to item power across all crossbows. Whereas when I go to, where is it at? The light crossbow, this gives me plus 2 specialization to item power for light crossbows and 0.2 for all other crossbows. That's how the power works, and the more item power you have, the more damage you deal, the more HP and defense sort of kind of that you get. So that is leveling up. That's how it works. You level up by killing monsters with the gear that you have equipped, and once that gear is maxed out, you use your combat fame credits to put it elsewhere if you want to. And this does cost silver, by the way. This is one of the silver sinks in the game. Alright, is because I'm using this maximum gear, if I go out and kill things, then it's going to drain my silver for the combat fame credits. You can turn that off if you want, but it's very beneficial to leave on. You can also use a bag to increase combat fame by 92%. Having premium was another 100% increase. There's holidays that increase it by 50, 25%, etc. There's guild buffs and raid buffs you can get that also increase it for, I think, like a few days at a time for another bonus. It's pretty easy to fame up now, and with the recent patch, they've made leveling up in this game 6 times faster for combat-related things than in the past. So I know, like, back, if you look at old videos, people will complain that it took like weeks or months to fame up to 100 and everything, but it doesn't take that long anymore. So you can get powered up very quickly if you want to go PvP. All right, it's that simple. All right, let's talk demographics, okay? Because this is a worldwide free-to-play game that can also be played on cell phone, the demographics are kind of sort of what you would expect. The majority of people that played this game, I will tell you right now, are not from Canada, United States, Australia, or Europe. Though Europe, out of those 4, does have the biggest presence on this game. If you are from the United States or Canada, you're going to be kind of feeling lonely because there's not that many that play this game currently from those regions. The majority of people that play this game are from Russia, Indonesia, India, and just other kind of Southeast Asian regions. You do have plenty from places also like Poland, South America, Brazil, Argentina, and the likes, okay? But you also have plenty of people from like South America, Iran. You have a lot of games. Basically, everyone from all over the world will be playing this, but you will see a lot of non-English chat in the English chat, all right? With that said, let's talk about cheating, hacking, exploits, and bots, because that's always a big topic for MMORPGs. Now, I want to start off by saying in my past videos, I've been extremely critical of this game for the cheaters, the exploiters, the hackers, and the botters. But I have spent quite a lot of time away from the game playing other games such as New World, Lost Ark, and some other games, especially like Diablo Immortal, okay? I'm not playing Diablo Immortal, so please don't subscribe if you want Diablo Immortal content. I'm not going to play it. But I have played those games, and let me tell you, the botting in Lost Ark is unreal. It's insane. And I used to think it was really bad in this game, but it's not nearly as bad as any of those other games I've mentioned. The botting in New World, the botting and hacks and exploits in New World was crazy compared to Albion, okay? I will say the botting is probably as bad in World of Warcraft as it is here. Now, as far as bots go, there are gathering bots. There are gathering bots that comb the tier 5 regions. And if you manage to mess one up or block it off with items or kill her down or whatever, they'll just send 3 more bots to the same region and continue farming, and they farm nonstop forever. Okay, the economy is bottomed out because of the bots, but the bots are not the majority of the game like in Lost Ark. Okay, if you've been looking at the bottom left of my chat log this whole time, there's not a single gold spammer. This is a free-to-play game. Not one gold spam. Okay. Not gold, it's silver in this game, okay? But you get the point. If you play any of these other games that I've mentioned, it is flooded with gold spammers. It is flooded with RMT. This game does a very good job of shutting those people down very quickly and getting rid of them. And also detecting RMT. If I was to sell silver, like if I was to sell my 25 million silver, just on this character, I've got way more, which I think is $1 each. But if I did, I would be banned so fast. I would be banned so fast. All right. They even investigate when you mule large amounts of silver. They check it all, man. They're very good at it. Okay. I'm gonna give them props. I don't normally give the company of this game props because the company of this game hates my guts. I am literally blacklisted. I'm not allowed to comment on their forums, their Discord, their Facebook, their Twitter, or their YouTube page. I am also muted on all of my accounts throughout the entire game, and they never acknowledge me or give me game codes to pass out to my fans. Like every other Albion YouTuber, they're bought. They get paid by Sandbox Interactive. They get free codes for premium. They get free codes for skins. They get given skins by the developers. I do not get any of this, and I, at one point, was the biggest Albion Online YouTuber. And they have me blacklisted. They've talked crap about me on their conference calls. They do not like me, but I'm still going to give them props because they kind of handled the RMT exploiting. They didn't for a long time, but they finally cracked down on it, and the game is better off for it. I think it is. Now let's talk about. There's not that many. There's still a lot of bots, but there's not as many as you would think. Most of the bots are on private islands doing shit. Anyway, let's talk about exploits. This game has not had much duping. There not much exploits. Not a whole lot of stuff. Just things where they bug out mobs so you can kill them easier, or like a few weird combinations with items, and those are all fixed very, very fast. As far as exploits go, I don't know a single exploit in this game. Okay, I know one. I know one exploit, and I might tell people on my membership page, but I want people to be a member for at least a year before I even make that video. If you want to learn that one exploit, which has to do with focus, and it has to do with crafting, then, hey, man, become a channel member. Click that join button down below. I don't have any sponsors on this video. I never have sponsors on my channel. I sponsor myself by telling you to become a channel member. It's $5 a month. It's like being on Twitch, like a Twitch sub, okay? You get access to those private personal videos, and one day I'm going to release the exploit video for Albion, but not today. Let's talk about hacks. Hacks are actually a big problem in the game, but it comes in waves. And here's what I mean by that, okay? If you go to the Russian group dungeon discords, they have speed hacks. And speed hacking in this game means I can run at like 10 million miles per hour up to someone with a ranged weapon and then kill them very quickly and loot all their stuff. Most of the people doing this have barcode names. It's very rare that they do it now. They do it in waves. They'll play for like a month at a time, terrorizing the game, and they get banned very quickly. I'm going to give SBI props for that as well. They have been banning the speed hackers relatively quickly compared to almost all other games currently on the market. All right. And I just want to tell you, I am not bought out by SBI. They are not paying me to say this. I am not getting any incentive at all for being on their side on this. I'm just being honest with you, okay? I'm going to give people props when they deserve the props. They are doing things about the hacks and cheats, and the Russian guys, they get bored, they leave for a while, they'll come back, gank the red and black zones. I don't really play there anyway, it doesn't affect me that much. It still sucks though when it happens to you. And then cheats. There's been like 2 dupes in the game to my knowledge, and they were never truly widespread, and they were just stupid things that really didn't hurt the market too bad. Most of the time you'll see like gold go up and stuff like that. Let me just check the price here. Before big patches, like I'm filming this I think 3 days before a major patch, and the gold has went up by 500k for premium. That's not a lot. That's not a big jump anyway. So as far as cheating and hacking goes, it's far better than most AAA titles. I'm gonna give them that. The botting, it's still there, but it's not nearly as bad as the AAA titles. And the exploits, well, this game is pretty solid in terms of exploiting. The one that I do is just a developer oversight. Once I make a video on it, someone's going to leak it to them, and they'll have it fixed in probably a week or 2. It's not a big deal. if I ever do decide to release it. But the point is that this game is pretty solid for those kinds of topics. I just want to let you guys know that if you're looking for a game with minimal bots and barely any hacks and not many bots and cheats going on, then Albion Online's all right for that now. It wasn't always, but it is now. All right, let's talk about pay to win. This game has pay to win elements, but it's only one pay to win element, and let me explain. You can buy gold for real money in the game, okay? So for $100, I can get 22,000 gold. Then I can sell that gold for silver. So if I sell 1,000 gold, I'm going to receive 3 million silver. So if I sell 22,000 silver, that's about 69-ish million silver. 69 million silver can then buy what's called a Tome of Insight. And let's see, a Tome of Insight is worth 22,000 silver. So I'm going to round it up and say 70 million silver divided by 22,505. And that is going to allow me to buy 3,110 tomes. 3,110 tomes that give me 10,000 combat experience. Is going to give me 31 million combat fame. 31 million combat fame, okay? So, 31 million combat fame. Let's find something that's level 1 here, just real quick. Okay, let's say I want to level up Quarterstaff, and I want to pay real money to do it. To level up to 100 is going to cost me 16 million, about 17 million combat fame credits, okay? And these are at a price of 2 to 1. So what this means, if we round that to 17 million, that means it's going to take 34 million fame to level this from 1 to 100. Okay? And I said that, 70 million divided by 22k would buy me 3,100 something tomes. Times 10,000. Sorry, I'm just doing math here. So I would very, very closely be able to level 1 to 100 for $100. So if I wanted to level up the entire tree, that's $1, $2, $3, $4, $5, $6, $700. 700 real life dollars to max out all of these weapons pretty much nearly instantly. Sort of. Because you can buy these little tomes that cost in-game money. For experience, okay? Yeah. So, $700 to max out an entire tree of weapons. That's a little pricey. Or, you can play the game for 1 to 2 weeks. I don't know about you, but I've never made $700 a week. I've never, ever once made $700 a week. If you make $700 a week, yeah, you can do this. And it supports the game. It makes the game grow. But you're at the same time, you would also be leveling your helmet, your armor, and your boots. So you would have a full set completely maxed out, ready to go for $700. Now, as far as premium goes, unlike other MMORPGs, yes, you can buy premium with real money. Real money being, 3,000 gold. If I go here, premium for 1 month is $12, okay? Now, let me tell you. I'm a developed character, okay? Premium right now is only 9.5 million silver. I can make this in 1 hour. With my characters, I can spend 1 hour and make the equivalence of what I would have to pay real money for $12. Granted, you could probably make $12 an hour working at McDonald's or something, but yes, having premium pretty much doubles everything. It doubles your gather rate. It doubles your gathering yield. You gather double the amount of resources. You get double the amount of fame per kill. You get double the amount of silver, and so on and so forth. You pay less taxes through the market. So this game does have pay-to-win elements, but you don't have to. You absolutely don't have to. That's the only thing. It's not like you can go pay real money for a special potion that gives you a super magical buff that is only available in the cash shop like in Arcade. The game doesn't have that. The game isn't having a little pop-up that says, hey, you just died. You want all your stuff back? $10, buddy. It does not do that. It does not. The only thing that's pay to win is converting your gold to silver and your silver to fame tomes. That's it. That's the only pay to win in this game, and it's a very respectable game. I've never paid money in this game, and I am easily in the top 100 richest players out of the entire game's history, never once paying real money. And yes, I could have paid real money for premium if I wanted. It's really cheap anyway, but you don't have to pay money to play this. You just don't. Everything you can earn everything in the game, except for vanity skins. There are skins that only cost real money. Like if I go to skins, like if I want to buy this wardrobe and mount skin bundle or this undead direwolf, I can't currently get this in the game for in-game money. I have to pay real money to have my wolf look like this. But let me show you something. And I can't believe they do this, is you can turn off skins, okay? I don't know where it's at, but there's an option that just disables skins for other players. So what that means, mount skins. Show for yourself, show for guild, alliance, and party, and for your opponents. So I only have skins activated in safe areas. So outside of any safe zones like town, I don't see anyone's skins. This helps me, determine who I'm fighting and what I'm fighting, okay? And what kind of mount they're using to try to escape from me. So the fact that you can pay real money for skins that people might or might not ever see is kind of shocking to me. But guys, that's pretty much it. Oh, and as a new player, yeah, you might not have premium right away, so paying for premium would definitely be a huge boost. You also get an island, a little personal island, where you can grow crops. You can have houses that you can put laborers in that will generate you more resources when you do things, or even give you money, depending on how you use them. And there's stuff like that, but essentially, you can still get these islands without ever paying any real money. You just have to have premium, which you can buy using in-game silver, or buy gold from other players via silver, which is completely allowed and totally fine. But that's pretty much it for the pay-to-win stuff. Alright, I want to talk about chat moderation and just moderation in general. Now, Albion Online back in the day had almost no chat moderation. You could say almost anything that you wanted. You could literally rip copy pasta straight off of 4chan's poll board, paste it into the game, and nothing would happen to you. But at the same time, later on, they hired certain game masters, which I call Jannies, and I've been in trouble for calling them Jannies, and because they're like janitors, okay? It's their job to clean it up, Jannies. But anyway, memes aside, even insulting someone with a preschool insult, like calling them a hot dog or calling them a pipsqueak or something very amateurish and simple, like a fart knocker, or just something you would hear like a little first grader say. They can and will mute you for it, and they can and will mute you for almost indefinitely. Now, let me tell you a good thing about the chat moderation. Let's say you say the nastiest, worst possible things in the chat that isn't like advertising gold buying, okay? They'll ban you for that. But you can say anything besides threats. Like, I'm talking the worst insults against any type of person, okay? They won't ban you. They'll just mute you. You can even insult the game masters, okay? At one point, I was trying to suicide my account because I didn't want to play anymore. It was taking up too much of my free time. And I said, I tried to get my account banned through words. And not through anything illegal, of course. Just mean words. And they still wouldn't ban me. And it's not just me, it's everybody. They don't ban you for mean words. They just mute you for mean words, okay? They just mute you for them. All right? But with that said, I told them, hey, I was just trying to get banned. It's whatever. I even screamed at them in tickets. I was like, ban me, and they wouldn't do it. They absolutely wouldn't do it because I didn't break any of the game rules. I wasn't going to break the game rules. I wasn't going to cheat or hack or do anything illegal. So I give them that. I think that's pretty cool. But at the same time, sometimes in the chat, it gets wild, and there's no game masters around, and people in the chat will just absolutely say the wildest stuff that you would only see on 4chan, okay? And so, it really depends on who the game master is, okay? And how long you've been playing, and so on and so forth, but they will mute you for bad language, but they won't ban you for it, and that's pretty cool. If you play a Blizzard game and you talk about something controversial, which I'm not going to mention because I don't do that on YouTube, but if you talk about a current event on a Blizzard game, you get a 2-week ban. You can't even play the game. If you do this on New World or an Amazon game like Lost Ark, banned. You even if here's another thing too. The moderation in this game is not automated. Let's say a big clan of 100 people all mass report you. They manually check they manually check the reports. You will never be automatically muted or automatically banned for reports. Unlike in games like Blizzard games, Amazon games, and other MMORPG current generation games that all have basically automated moderation. This game is all manually moderated. So big props to them for that too. I'm gonna give them props again, even though I'm one of the ones that are perma muted. Rightfully so. It's fine. I don't really care anyway. I don't really talk to people anyway. But The point is that, I just want to let you guys know that don't say bad words. You'll get muted. You won't get banned. And the chat moderation, just mods in general, being reported in general, it's not automated. So thank you for that. Because I've been playing these other games lately, and being automatically banned because some other YouTuber doesn't like that you beat him in a war and taxed his town is so dumb. It's so stupid. It's really dumb. So yeah, it's a positive. All right, so a lot of people are going to ask now, or at least I like to ask in video games, how long does it take to do a thing? All right, and what I mean by that is when a new MMORPG comes out, whenever an MMORPG that's been out for a while and that I'm interested in playing, I always ask, how long does it take to hit max level? How long does it take to be able to afford the best gear in the game? How long does it take to max out your crafting or your gathering? Okay, so let's talk about how long it takes to do things. How long does it take to afford premium on a brand new character? For a brand new character, it's probably going to take you your first month. Your first entire month of playing, unless you get lucky, is going to take you about 30 days to get. Just figuring out the game. You're not going to have much gear. You're not going to be able to clear quickly. Dungeons have been slightly nerfed. The overworld mobs are dropping less because there's less players in the black market to give you less items on drops. That's just how it is. It's going to take you 30 days on a brand new character. If you have my knowledge and you have my game experience, I've been playing this game over 10,000 hours. I have over 10,000 hours logged. That's over 1 year. It's like 418 days, I think, of playing this damn game since it came out, okay? I'm very expert in it. I know everything there is to know about this game. It would take me, on a brand new character, maybe 1 to 3 days. There's been people that have sped run it and done it on one day. I think there was one Russian guy that got super lucky in Corrupted Dungeons. He did it in 6 hours, but he was crazy. He got so lucky. He got 1 year's worth of premium in the first day, in under a day. So it's definitely possible if you have the game knowledge on a brand new character, brand new account with no outside help and no hand-me-downs, just pure luck, okay? It's possible. So how long does it take to get maximum geared, okay? In order to equip tier 8.3 gear, you have to have 100 mastery in a weapon. There's a YouTuber that sped run this. He did this in 9 hours. In 9 hours, he got a brand new character high enough with enough fame to be able to wear tier 8 in 9 hours, okay? For me, I've done this many times over. It usually takes me about 4 to 5 days, and let me tell you why it takes me so long compared to the other guy. The other guy ran straight into the most dangerous of black zones in the entire game, the highest level zones that he could possibly survive in, and he hard farmed there. And man, there's a huge difference between going to the black zone and farming those overworld mobs versus staying into the safe zones. I'm going to tell newbies right now not to go to the red or black zones for quite a while until you have a nice net worth, a little nest egg. Whereas in his case, he was a speedrunner. If he died from a ganker, he would just reset his speedrun and start over again. So, that's how long it takes to be able to equip maximum high tier gear. How about how much to afford the gear? It's not really that bad, okay? This crossbow, 2.4 million. This armor, 2.2 million. These boots, 1.7 million. So just those 3 pieces, like even the cape, 1.7 million. Your entire gear set, unless you go for really expensive items, it's going to be less than the cost of premium. And if you never take it to a red or black zone, you'll never lose it. So it's always useful in case you want to go farm lower level content very, very quickly or mess around in PvP. Now, in PvP, I didn't talk about faction warfare. That's a whole different ball game. That's something you can also do, which is really fun. That's the one thing that I log in and play the game for, is the faction PvP. I'm going to go ahead and talk about faction stuff here in a little bit, because why not? So how long does it take to maximize your gathering or refining? You can max out refining in a single day if you do the math and profit on it, because you just buy out the wood, turn it into planks, and sell the planks. And if you do it and make a profit, you can buy more wood to turn into more planks. That's a one-day thing. That's easy. That's easy to at least hit tier 8, and maybe not max it out, okay? How long to max gathering, okay? I haven't actually went to tier 8 in gathering since the game's been out, but when I did it, it took a few months. And I would chop trees like 10 hours a day in the yellow zone, and it took me a few months to get to tier 8 and have it mostly maxed out, okay? Not tier 8, of course, but, just tier 4 and 5. So that's a few months. About on par with wood chopping in New World. If you played that game, it's much slower than World of Warcraft gathering for sure. But it's way more fun and relaxed and less tedious for sure. Okay. Now, how long to max out 100 into all of your weapons? I was able to do this on a new character, starting from complete 0 in 1 month. Now, if I use my character right now on screen and I go power level using my max spec crossbows, using combat fame credits, I could max out an entire tree in one sitting. I can just sit here and play 12 to 16 hours a day for one single day and put all of these at 100. If I wanted. If I truly wanted to, I could do it. And that's solo. If I had friends to do group content with, or if I went into the black zones to do open world mobs, or even group dungeons in these black zones, it would be even faster than that. And I don't have friends I don't have a massive black zone guild to go out here and do that kind of stuff, so I can't do it as fast as they can. But maybe you can if you join a guild and have them, ferry you around and power level you that way. Alright? So with that said, and that includes armor and stuff too. That's not just your weapon specs. It's a lot easier to level up your offhands armors. They don't take nearly as much combat fame credits, okay? How long does it take to get a nice, like fully developed island with all of the fixins and all the housing and all the plots? It's just silver. To afford everything on this island, full tier 5, yeah, it's like the cost of 2 premiums. Like I said, if I wanted to farm premium on my crafter alt, I can get it in very, very quickly, like 2 to 3 million an hour. It doesn't take that long. It's very, very quick, very simple, very easy. All right. Other than that, look at all these islands. I have so many islands, and there's even more on other alts. I have a lot of islands hidden from this character, so I don't mess it up and go to the wrong island I don't have any business being on this specific character. All right. But yeah, that's how long it takes to do things. How long does it take to build up a nice nest egg of skins and just extra gear and to be completely safe where you can enter the black zone forever and ever? It took me around 8 months. 8 months starting fresh and learning the game and playing it is how long it took to be able to never ever fear losing gear or losing money and never not being able to afford whatever the hell I want that isn't super expensive extinct vanity skins. Okay, if I wanted to buy the most expensive skins in the game, those are like 600 million. I can afford that on my other characters, but I keep this character low money just in case something happens and SBI gets upset with me, and bans me or whatever. But here's a nice stack of stuff, 36 million there, I've got that 163 million mammoth here. I've got islands and islands and islands just full of this kind of stuff. In case there's any patches or nerfs, I have just stockpiles of everything in the entire game. All right, and you can have all this too in under 8 months if you play every day. It's simple as that. All right, finally, let's talk about factions. Okay, games like World of Warcraft have Horde versus Alliance. This game has factions as well. All right, factions include the 5 towns. You have Bridgewatch, you have Martlock, and so on and so forth. Each of these are their own faction. And what you can do is you don't have to choose a faction when you make your character. You're not stuck in a faction. You can change factions. We're all humans, and we all can change factions. So right now, I'm part of the Bridgewatch faction, and I can go here and be enlisted and flag up for faction PvP. That's going to add a little orange flag next to my name there. So I am now flagged for Bridgewatch. I can do little delivery missions, which I don't recommend. I get reputation for killing other players. I get to rank up, and as I rank up, I can unlock. I'm 93% almost unlocked to this. I can unlock better stuff from the faction vendor. But what this means is that when I go out into the world, even in blue zones, I can fight people of the opposite faction. So because I'm flagged for Bridgewatch, let's say I went over towards here to this foresty zone. To Limhurst, and there's going to be people with a green flag, because this is the green zone, right? It's not a green zone, I'm sorry. It's a blue zone. But it's a green faction. So see their little green flags here? I can go here and capture these little bases and earn points for my faction and people in my faction, whereas they can do the same. You can see right now, this is a desert area, and it's got green flags. So I can ride my happy butt over here, and you can. There's actually combat going on right now. I don't know if you were able to see it or not, but you see how there's a little sword icon here? This is under attack right now. So if I wanted to do my part, I could ride through these zones, get to this flag, and help defend it. All right, and recapture it back. That's going to give me... Oh, I'm being noticed again by Chadwick here. Hey, I think I know Chadwick. I wish... I'm muted. I can't respond to these people. But yeah, hey, Chadwick, what's up? I'll give him a little happy spin. You know, there we go. First time seeing me. Yeah, anyway, that's Faction Warfare. That's Faction PvP. Of course, in the red zone... look at all these island names. They're very ridiculously named. Don't judge me. I went to the wrong island. I went to Single 18 Female Island. Where all the Single 18 female babes are, right? Okay, not really. No. Anyway, that's Faction Warfare. If I don't want to be part of Bridgewatch, I can go to Limhurst and be in Limhurst and have a green flag. I can change it anytime that I want. It's completely fine. That's Faction Warfare. In yellow zones, again, it's just for fun. You do lose durability. But you aren't down for 3 minutes. You just teleport back to one of these little outposts instead. Whichever one is closest that you have currently captured. It's a lot of fun. I think it's something fun to do that I can log in and do. I have an entire ganking set where I just ride around and blow people up off their mounts. And then I kill them and get lots of faction points. It's a whole lot of fun. I have entire videos on my channel about that. Okay, that's about everything that I can think of that I would ask about a new MMORPG or an MMORPG that I have never played before. So if you want to learn more, I read every single comment. So leave a comment on this video if you have any questions about Albion Online. If you want to know, I have 10,000 hours in the game and I've done almost everything there is to do. I am primarily a solo player. So just let me know in the comments if you have any other further questions. I'll be glad to help you out there. Please don't leave questions on non-Albion videos. I would really appreciate it if you didn't. Like I said, and make sure that your comments don't have curse words. They don't have hyperlinks, links to other videos, or periods without a space after the period, because YouTube thinks that that's a hyperlink, and I will not be able to see that comment. YouTube is very filtery on my channel for comments. So if I don't respond to a question, it's probably because your comment got filtered. And I'm sorry for that. I have no control over that. That's purely on YouTube and the advertisers that YouTube runs on my channel. I have no power over that or say or anything in that matter. I know some channels don't, but mine does, unfortunately. That's just how it is. So again, if you want to learn more too, I have a playlist of Albion videos. I have over 230 videos covering every aspect of this game. They're all in extreme instant detail. And finally, if you made it this far, I just want to say thank you so much for hanging out with me. Also, I have a lot of haters on this game, especially from Reddit and the accompanying Discord. A lot of cancel culture people do not like me from those communities because I am kind of a rowdy gamer, and also a lot of these people relied on newbies going to black zones and making the wrong decisions about starting gear and paths, and I ruined all of that for them, and so they take it very personally because this is a very cutthroat PvP full loot game. Have you ever heard of those bad stories about EVE Online of people cutting each other's power and trying to like mess with them in real life? This game has that same stuff too. It's just less reported on and there's less news about it, but it has definitely happened to me on multiple occasions, okay? So I just want you guys to know to stay safe out there. If you want to play this game, go ahead and give it a shot. Make sure you use those referral links in the description or pinned comment. Let me know anything you need or have questions about in the comments. I'll answer them. I read every comment every day. If my channel grows too big, like if I have like 200,000 subscribers, I don't know if I can keep that up. But as of right now, it's 63,000 subscribers. Oh, I need to update that, by the way. Let's see, 63K, there we go. Update that. And I have 20 different characters, so please ignore the stats page. This is just my YouTuber account that I play on, so some of the stats are a little low. Some people will try to point that out. This is not my main character that I play. This is my YouTube character that I play for videos only. Because otherwise I get noticed, I get stalked, I get killed for just being SwoleBenji, obviously. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. If this helped you out, please leave a tip. There is a thanks button right below this video. Click that thanks button. Leave me a tip. It'll highlight your comment. I really appreciate it. If you want to become a channel member, it's $5 a month. Click the join button for that. You get private, more personal videos. And one day I'll make some really nice Albion videos for those members that have been members for a while. Don't think you can join, get an exploit, and then cancel the payment. Okay, there's not going to be anything there for you for your first month anyway. And also, leave a like, leave a comment anyway. Comment on other people's comments, all right? And make sure you're subscribed because I pump out videos every single day. If this video does well, I'll put more Albion videos out. I have over 230 Albion videos, so most of the videos that I would make will be reruns at this point or updates to old content. If you want to see that, let me know. Let me know in the comments what kind of videos that you want to see. Do you want me to cover islands? Do you want me to cover dungeons? Do you want me to cover growing herbs and to make potions? Let me know. I'll talk about it. I'll make videos about it for you guys. Thank you so much. Come back tomorrow for another video, and make sure you're subscribed. You can even join the Discord if you want to play with me. I don't know how long I'll be playing Albion. I don't know what games I'll be currently playing. It really depends. I wish someone would buy me Star Citizen. That would be really nice. If you're very wealthy and you want to gift me Star Citizen, hit me up in the comments. Hit me up in Discord, and let's get that going too. Guys, thank you so much. Make sure you're subscribed for tomorrow's video. Take care, lads.